All right, welcome back to Keepin' It Comics. So once again, the Avengers are stupid, at least when it comes to Dr. Doom. And as we dive back here into One World Under Doom by Ryan North with issue number 3, it is here where we see what comes of the Avengers deciding to team up here with some very interesting villains on what is supposed to be a two-pronged attack. One of brute force and then another on the mind, which for a moment does put Dr. Doom here on the back foot, but once again he proves that he is like 10 steps ahead of them. But then what that leads to here is that it leads to another incredibly powerful villain deciding to step in because he himself has had enough. So where we pick up on this here is at the Impossible City here at the Avengers headquarters, and we see Tony Stark here bringing in MODOK and Doc Ock to meet the rest of the team. Now, Tony does decide to lay some ground rules here, one of which is to let MODOK know that in the Impossible City that they can block any sort of mind control attempt that MODOK would try. To which MODOK replies, he's like, listen, if I wanted to kill you, you would already be dead. But Doc Ock, on the other hand, he's like, the world is on the line, Stark. We don't have the luxury of you Avengers screwing up anymore. You need us. You need genius. Which, as we would have found out later on here, it was actually this group of villains that decided to reach out to the Avengers to lend a helping hand. So when they get to the rest of the group here, we're reminded of who these team of villains are that are going to be assisting the Avengers. We see Mysterio, we get Arcade, we got Baron Mordo, and then we also got Madeline Pryor. And of course, we've already seen MODOK and Doc Ock. And as things get settled here, this is where Captain Marvel lays out her plan. And she says, she's like, this is where we're at, people. We tried catching Dr. Doom in a lie, and he was ready for us. Then the Fantastic Four tried humiliation, and he was ready for that too. So that leaves the obvious. We're gonna beat the guy up. And while we're certain it's what Doom's expecting with a dozen intricate counter plans for us and our powers, I'm less certain of his ability to adapt those plans to the 6 of you. You are our wild cards. All you need to do is what you do best. Ruin some best laid plans. Fight, scheme, plot, destroy. Each of you has proven yourself in battle, and you've also proven, to my satisfaction, that you are all unwilling to tolerate a world under doom as we are. And it's in this moment here where Mysterio basically acts as the reader's thoughts right here when he says, he's like, sorry, that's your master plan? Your big move? Punch Dr. Doom until he says he won't be emperor anymore? Like, sis, he was absolutely ready for you the last 2 times. What's different now? So Scarlet Witch jumps in. She's like, listen, what's different, Mysterio, is that this giant battle against Doom, it's all but a distraction. And Iron Man lays it out. He's like, while we're fighting Doom, the Scarlet Witch and you, Baron Mordo and Madeline Pryor, will be combining your magic and telepathy to get inside the head of world leaders. The goal is to find out what Doom's done to them, which, when known, will let us knock Doom's source of power, support and legitimacy right out from under him. So then Captain Marvel is like, all right, that's the pitch. And the only reason why we listened to y'all in the first place when y'all reached out to us. So y'all in or not? And slowly as they go around the room, all of them are like, all right, I'm in, let's get it done. So then later on here, that's where we pick up at the Latveria border. And MODOK is like, all right, so what do? We just wait for this dude to show up? But Captain Marvel is like, nah, what we do right now is that we knock. So all of them, well, most of them, decide to start blasting at this dude's barrier, which once again, I'm just like, guys, what are we doing here? We really think this is gonna work? Well, let's move on. Now, after they team up, crack-a-boom, and try to knock the door down, nothing happens. And Tony says, he's like, and all our energy doesn't even make a dent in his magical shield. And I'm like, duh. But he does mention, he's like, it's disappointing, but it's not unexpected. So he tells the Vision, he's like, all right, you're up. So Vision, he's like, this magic hit me out before, but I believe with practice, I might be able to adapt to it, find some way to phase through it, which is what he tries to do. But before he can even do that, here comes the voice of Dr. Doom. And he says, I assure you, Avengers, there is no need, for Doom has come to you. And I gotta tell you, every single time I see this Doom dinosaur, I'm like, this is just Ridiculous, right? Come on now. But I love it. I can't lie to you. I love it. So MODOK is like, all right, silence, Doom. The only sound I'll hear is the sound of your death. And Doom is like, for real? Like, strange bedfellows you're keeping these days, Avengers? Have you really become so desperate? But then in that moment, Doom gets silent because he senses a single piercing bullet coming through his barrier of protective magic. And then it pierces the second barrier of his protective magic. And as this magically enhanced projectile approaches his armor, Victor Von Doom discovers players who up until now have been shielded from his sight. And who was it? None other than Arcade, who then says, "Hey Doc, figured if you weren't gonna visit my murder worlds, then it was only neighborly to bring them to you. Call it a coronation present." So Doom gets knocked down, just like how, by the way, you should knock down that like button so that this video can reach a wider audience. Also, if you're new, you should just subscribe too so that you never miss a video. So Doom cries out, he's like, the insolence, while Mysterio removes the illusion. And apparently they had a metal shredder that they were hoping that Doom would just fall into. So Doom's like, you fools, your cheap tricks are nothing. Do you not realize I can control my dinosaur doppelganger as readily as I control my own body? And then he continues on. He's like, his will is my will. I've dominated him entirely, and so you shall. But before he can continue that, here comes this arm that taps on Doom's shoulder. And now the rest of the Avengers are ready to hit him with everything that they've got. Crack-a-boom one more time. And Doom, this dude is pissed. He ain't having it. And he looks up and he's like, that was unwise. Now, as mentioned before, Scarlet Witch, Madeline Pryor, and Mordo, they were on another mission. And when we pick up on them, we see Scarlet Witch saying that she's in position. And she mentions that when she triggers the spell, the minds of every national leader around the world will be available to them, but it will only be for a moment. She checks in with Madeline. Madeline is all set. Then we check in with Baron Mordo. And he mentions how he's frozen the minds of anyone who might notice their presence. But then in that moment, Scarlet Witch can sense that there's something else going on with him. And she says, she's like, Baron, I am the Scarlet Witch, the living Darkhold. Even without our minds being linked, I will sense your thoughts of betrayal before you've even finished thinking them. So then Mordo's like, all right, never mind then, I'm ready too. So then they count it down. And it's in that moment where Scarlet Witch did not expect what she saw. And as she communicates to the Avengers, she says, it's not Doombots, Carol. So Captain Marvel's like, mind control then? If we can free them from Doom's thrall, we can. But then she cuts her off. She's like, it isn't that either. And then Madeline chimes in. She's like, Doom's only use of his Sorcerer Supreme power was to allow him to be in many places at once, to accomplish in a single night what would have been the work of years, maybe decades. So Captain Marvel's asking, she's like, work? What work? And Mordo continues. He's like, the work of negotiation, Captain, of tapping into the hate and fear already present after the vampire invasion, of building on the impression that the world is chaotic, the system broken, and the heroes just as bad as the villains. And Scarlet Witch continues on. She's like, Doom simply promised order, then offered everyone with power whatever they needed to secure their support. Money, security, health, time, sex, revenge. So she continues on. She's like, everyone got exactly what they wanted. There are no spells to break, no robot duplicates to punch. Doom didn't cheat, don't you see? This isn't magic, Carol. This is human nature. We chose this. So this is when Doom chimes in and he's like, now you know the truth. I did not take this title, I earned it. And then he tells him, he's like, and another truth that you have not yet realized is that Doom did not come here to fight. How in America, there's a group of the worst, much more deadly than the meager villains who accompany you today. And as MODOK screams, I'll kill him, he continues on. And he's like, and they are in the process of escaping your highest security prison. The raft is, I believe, your chosen euphemism for this place. They cannot be allowed to succeed. Thus a question, do you choose to remain here to fight me? Or do you choose to battle alongside Doom to prevent things from getting worse and to serve the greater good? In other words, Avengers, do you actually want to help people? And it's in that moment when the Avengers begin to start to take a pause here for a second. As Iron Man is like, I hate to say it, But my drones at NYC, they're confirming what he's saying. There is an uprising at the raft. And Storm is like, the impossible city sees it too. The smoke is visible from orbit. And Vision continues, he's like, the villains held there. Purple Man, Typhoid Mary, Carnage's Spawn, all loose in New York all at once. This could get very ugly very fast. And then Carol sees the irony in this. She's like, no, we attack Doom and a huge raft breakout just happens to occur at the same time? Please, he planned this. What's your game, Doom? To show us fighting by your side, tactically supporting you? Well, it's not gonna happen. You don't rule us and you never will. So Doom continues, he's like, you misjudged me, Captain, fear not. It is a sadly common affliction, but I assure you, Emperor Doom cares only for his world. But Thor's like, nay, Doom cares only for Doom, and Doom does not speak the truth. So in this moment, Carol yells out, she's like, we won't play this game, Victor, and we won't be used for your little PR wins. We built the raft, and we will fix the raft without you. And I'll tell you this right now, this isn't over. But then Doom once again flips the script. He's like, over? Why, Miss Danvers? We are still but in the opening act. And it's in that moment when he snaps. And what that snap does is that it brings the raft, the people who are escaping, directly to the Avengers. And while they're fighting, we hear this report happening here on the news, as it says, a major escape from the ultra high security prison, the raft, was put down today in New York, as the Avengers, aided by several supervillains, defeated the dangerous criminals. It was such a huge success for these heroes, proving there are still good people in the world. Or rather, it would have been had these self-same heroes not been absent beforehand, overseas on an extrajudicial attack against Emperor Doom, thereby allowing this dangerous near miss of an escape to get as far as it did. While their selfish attack did not harm Doom, it did delay him. Therefore, Doom teleported the Avengers to the raft himself, giving them the chance to make their own mess right, to manifest his will while he attended to even more pressing matters elsewhere. Even before this latest success, more and more of the skeptics were already coming around to give the guy a chance. And why not, when the world is so clearly improving under him? Take a look at this clip, folks. Then just try telling me you're not impressed. And this is where we transition here over to Sorcerer Supreme Doom, giving another speech with cameras all around him. And he says, one might point out how even while securing the raft, these so-called heroes allied with villains, underscoring how morally compromised they are. One might also address how the world once again nearly tipped into chaos because of the actions of this rogue element. But Doom does neither. For the Avengers did see the error of their ways eventually, and such realizations are always better late than never. Instead, I simply thank them for their service to our world and to Doom. But it's in that moment when we begin to hear the voice of another. And the voice says, the power of the Sorcerer Supreme, and this trifling is what Doom does with it? Become a sniveling politician? The weakness, the craven debility of it. He plays like a child with the power of his title, ignorant of its responsibilities. And this is where we see that it's the voice of Dormammu. And for a moment, it looks like he's right in front of Dr. Doom, but it's a little bit unclear. But he continues on, he's like, which suggests that he may not even be aware of them at all. By the absent horror, yes, the spells Earth's Sorcerer Supreme must maintain, those that protect and secure Earth from the grasp of my dark dimension. They lie in ruin. The ignorance made manifest in the preening human, all who would stand against me. I can now banish as quickly, as easily as thought itself. And for a moment, it looks like he just vanished all the Avengers. And then he continues on. He's like, the weight of eternities is ended. For none but that frail and hollow fool stand against me, claiming Earth for the dark dimension, and with it, the rest of the 8 cosmos. So spake the Lord of Chaos. So spake the dread Dormammu. So this all sets up here the next issue of the series here, which is going to be Dormammu versus Doom. And this right here, I think this shows kind of like the one vulnerability here, right, of Dr. Doom's one word under Doom is that now you've left the Earth vulnerable. We see this here now with Dormammu, but we've also seen it as well with 8 Deaths of Spider-Man, because look at what happened with Sorcerer and his children going up against Spider-Man, right? So I feel like they're going to continue to keep unraveling little things like this here. What did you think here about this issue in particular? Leave it down below in the comments. We'd love to hear from you here. Also, if you haven't checked out our Patreon yet, there's one way that you can support the channel. We have some exclusive perks that are there, and we have some future ones that are going to be coming as well. And also, if you're just looking to support overall, there's also our initial tier here of $1, which definitely helps us out here as it comes to creating content on this channel. So we'd love if you can take a look at the link that's down below in the description and support in whatever way that your heart leads. Like and subscribe if you haven't done so here on the channel. Hit the notification bell so that you know when the videos do go live. And as always, we appreciate you watching. Thank you so much for kicking it with Keepin' It Comic. Bye!